sure you guys have seen a lot of presentations. We're going to have 3 slides. I want to tell you a story. I want to captivate you. The main thing that we should really take away, we made a discovery on our very first drill hole. We had a massive intercept, 850 meters of 0.33% copper equivalent of 125 meter plus 1.02% copper equivalent. We took the market by storm. Nobody knew about us. We were obscurity. We went from 3.5 cents to 18.5 cents, trading 35 million volume in the first day. Over the next 2 weeks, we went up almost 1,000%. I talked to an advisor. He said he'd never seen a stock act like that. The good thing about our company right now, we're still trading at 27 cents. So we have a lot of support. And what it shows you is that the market is waiting for our next drill hole. And I'll tell you what, we've seen some of the results, and we're very confident about what's going to happen. So let me go on the next slide. So again, those are the big key takeaways. What I want to do is tell a story about American Eagle Gold and how we got from point A to point Z. So our company started 4 years ago as a private company in Papua New Guinea. We got the property stolen from us. A year later, we went public. We had a property in Nevada right next to Barrick's Cortez facility. It was amazing. We raised $3.5 million. Our stock went to 30 cents from 20 cents on the IPO. We ended up missing on our drill hole. Things turned on us. We went down to 2 cents. But what happened is we have a really smart chairman, smart CFO. We had creativity. We managed to raise $1.5 million through flow-through, and we did another $1 million raise through creative financing. Then what happened after that was really interesting. My uncle, who was a geologist, he worked for Freeport-McMoRan. He did the original discovery of Grasberg. He did the mapping. So while we were looking for our property in Nevada, he came to me in August, and he said, "You got to see this project, NAC." He goes, "I've been working 50 years." He says, "Of all the properties I've seen in terms of the geophysical targets," he goes, "this is the second best after Grasberg. You have to get it." I said, "Gary, we can't do it. We're drilling in Nevada. People will think we're not focused." He said, "Fine." We started drilling in Nevada, and the costs were escalating. Things were really going against us. My uncle came back to us, and he said, "Tony, you have to get this asset." I said, "Gary, we can't do it. We got this project in Nevada." He goes, "There's just low grade everywhere." He goes, "You are not a geologist. You're a bean counter." Still don't know what that means. But he said, "You have to get this asset. Trust me." So what I did is we hired a geophysicist. His name's Steve McMullen. Steve was a geophysicist for the Kamoa property. He helped discover that with Friedland. And every geologist, they treat their properties like their children. They're blinded by them. Gary loved this property, but we need a geophysicist to really kind of vet it. So we hired Steve McMullen. We paid him. And we said, "Take a look at this. Gary sees something there that we can't see." I'm on finance. And he looked through it. And what he did is he vetted it, and he says, "Gary's read about this." And not only that, he goes, "I want to join your team. I want to write a paper about this." So once we heard that, we're like, whoa, we got to get this property. Within 6 months, we managed to permit it. We did an exploration agreement with the First Nations community, Lake Babine, who are amazing. And we managed to drill there. We did end up missing in Nevada. Our stock went to the floor. But what we did is we focused, we kept our nose to the grindstone, and we had a lot of faith in this property. So our very first drill hole we started drilling in August, and we saw right off the bat, great mineralization. We have something here. Obviously, we have to wait for the assays. We're looking at the XRF, et cetera, so we can't tell the market anything. So we got to sit on our hands, and our stock kept on going down and down and down. So we didn't know what to do. But what we did know was we had a great asset, but we needed to find a way to finance it. We wanted to extend our program. So we only had $1.5 million to spend. We wanted an extra $1 million. And what we did is we sold 20% of our asset to a sister company for $1 million. And essentially it was like an option trade. We sold for $1 million. We had the option to buy it back for 50% more, so for $1.5 million over the next 18 months. What allowed us to do is extend our program by $1 million, but also not dilute our shareholders. So one thing I want to say is we did not blow up our cap structure despite all of the problems that we had. And on this next slide, you're going to see exactly what we do have. We made a huge discovery, and one thing I want to also add is we are in BC. BC is one of the best jurisdictions to be in the world. Not only BC, we're not helicopter access. We're access to road. We have a camp right next door. That means a lot. 1,000-meter elevation. It's easy to get to. No helicopters. Our first drill hole, you can see, is �નાc-01. 881 meters to depth. We hit some great mineralization on the top and great mineralization on the bottom. And what I like to say in terms of size, let's dumb it down. It's a burge by a burge by a burge. Burge is the biggest building in the world, is 831 meters high. Our first drill hole went a little bit deeper than that. Our strike length is almost as long as the burge is tall, 730 meters. Mind you, we're open at strike in both ends. And we also did a step-out hole of about 830 meters as well. So it gives you an idea of the size of this deposit. What really excites me about this, people are looking at our stock price, and they're like, you guys are up 8x, you're up 10x. And what I tell them is, don't look at where our stock was then and now. Look at our market cap and look at the comps. And I can't come up with any comps. When I see our drill holes, I know what's going to come out. I think we are the best junior exploration company in BC in terms of our asset. And I always ask, what's our valuation? I can't tell people what our valuation is, but the best comp that I can have is Filo del Sol, Filo Mining, $2.3 billion company. I'm not saying we're going to be the size of Filo, but what I can say about Filo, they're located about 6,000 meters above ground. They have about a 0.7% copper equivalent. They're 120 kilometers away from the closest town. So all of a sudden, you compare our large deposit, albeit probably a little bit lower on the copper equivalent. It might not be. But that delta between us and Filo del Sol gets smaller and smaller and smaller when you think we have access to infrastructure, we're at sea level, we're right next to a town, we have great resources, and we have a camp. So that's what I like to say. So it's all about future catalysts, and the one catalyst that I want to say that we have is that we have a lot of assays pending. You can see our stock's at 27 cents right now from 3.5. It's trading pretty much sideways. I think the market is anticipating some decent results. We've seen some of our results, and we're pretty confident that we'll be able to have holes that are similar to our first one with our second, third, and fourth. And just to back up a bit in terms of why and how we got this deposit, I mentioned that my Uncle Gary founded it for us. He told us to do it. But historically on this property, there was over $10 million spent. They had over 18,500 meters of drilling. The problem with their drilling is an average of 180 meters in depth. The last drilling was done in 2008. They got their results in 2009. That was Darnley Bay. Now, what happened between 2008 and 2009? Financial crisis. Copper went from $3.50 to $1.80. So these guys just walked away from it. Before that, the last drilling that was done, most of the drilling was done by Copper Ridge. Their average depth was 150 meters, and copper at that time was only 60 cents. So when people always look at our company, they say people were there before, it's low grade. But what you got to understand is copper at 60 cents, nothing below 150 meters even makes sense. Also, our property, you couldn't access it by normal infrastructure. You had to helicopter it in. So a lot of things have changed. And what we did, though, when you look at the recent discoveries of Escobal, Red Chris, those porphyry discoveries, they're there. They're discovered, at around the 500 meter, 600 meter level. So what our plan was to do 7 drill holes and do those drill holes to go at least 850 meters. Because not only did we know that we had mineralization at the top, but we believe that mineralization, think of it as like a coffee. You drink a cappuccino, I have one every day. You have a bit of the foam. You can taste some of the espresso, right, Anthony? But what you want, what keeps you up at night or during the day is that espresso underneath. So what we want to do is drilling through that lower grade surface. You want to go drill through the cappuccino, the froth at top, and get into the espresso. And that's what we're doing at our drilling. We're drilling through the lower grade surface. We want to get to that high grade espresso, the fire underneath that's providing all of that low grade dissemination at the surface. The fact that we hit higher grade dissemination at the surface on our first drill hole does show that we're onto some great track here, and we're very excited what we have to come. So just to let you know, we made a discovery. We have great infrastructure. Assays 2 to 7 are coming. Our company is called American Eagle Gold. We're traded on the AE/TSX Venture. And there's an expression about a bear being in the woods. There's the same thing about having a great deposit and having an exploration company. It's one thing having a great property. It's another thing having people know that you exist. And that's why I'm here telling you about our story. And I'm going to be marketing and telling everyone else about the story, because I believe we're a lot more valuable than a 20 million stock. So again, think of Filo del Sol. We're somewhere valued between 20 million and 2.2 billion. And there's a lot more news to come. Thank you very much. And thank you for the venue, Anthony.
Awesome. Well, you're not getting away so quickly. No. You're not getting away so quickly. We get to pepper with a few questions, right? First of all, first time I've ever seen a mining executive use espresso as a comparable to the Sweet. I love it. That was great. Well done. All right. You know, the famous, the crew out of Cisco is famous for coining that term SUDS. Do you know the SUDS, shut up and drill?
Yep.
I mean, this sounds like you're at that stage where this is all about drilling. So you've touched upon it a little bit, but what's in the bank? How much drilling is going to get done next year? And at this point, can you give us some timelines as to when we can start expecting some of those results and how they're going to flow through next year?
As of our last quarter, we had about $2 million. We'll be spending almost all of that money on our current drill program. You know, we have a great structure at the Ore Finders Group. Always look at what companies pay their CFO, what they pay their CEO, because honestly, the only way you're going to create value as a junior exploration company is making that discovery. A great discovery like the one that we made, it's like alcohol and tobacco. It's completely inelastic. So it shows you that even in a down market, copper's down 3% the day we came out with the results. Our company's up 500%. So what I'm trying to get at is that you want as much of the money going away from G&A and going into the ground, because $60,000 could make the difference of actually making that discovery. So at the Ore Group, what we do is we have really talented people that we wouldn't be able to afford on our own, and we cost share it. So we have Derek Teven, who's head of our sustainability, our permitting, our community support, and we would never be able to pay him. He works for Detour Gold, but what we do is we do a share cost structure. So American Eagle Gold, Ore Finders, Mustango, we all share his cost. Same thing goes for our CFO, Joel Friedman, who's very talented. He came up with that exotic financing that we have. So to answer your question, we'll be spending most of our money. There's a reason why we haven't raised money yet. Any company that goes from 0x to 10x with not a lot of money, you expect them to raise right away. But what you have to look at is what we know. We know there's more results coming out. We're excited, and we think we're still very undervalued. So sometime in the future, yes, we will raise money, but not at this current price. And we're willing to lend money to the company to keep on drilling and keep us afloat until we think that we're valued properly.
Excellent. Well, Tony, congratulations. Not only an interesting copper discovery, but one in a safe jurisdiction like BC. That's well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anthony, and thank you for your time.